I'm very impressed by the Gaidarovsky Forum from a variety of perspectives. First of all, it's a big surprise coming from the United States to see the combination of government official participation in the conference at a very high level, but the highest level, and also extremely frank discussion that's happening at the forum. So I would have expected one or the other, but not both. So that to me was surprising. The other thing that's very impressive is the topics are very wide-ranging, and they seem to be quite topical for the moment, which is hard to do in a conference because usually you have to select the topics very long in advance. So I was impressed at the foresight of the planners to see which topics were going to be continuing of relevance and particular relevance for the moment. I thought that was impressive. And also the organization of the conference, and particularly the participation of the students, is something that makes it extremely exciting. So not only do you have a complete sampling, very diverse sampling of people from all over the world, but also what adds a special dimension to it is how much involvement you have from the students and how much they're working in the conference, which makes it special in a certain way. So for example, I've participated in the Davos conference twice. It's kind of a little bit too stilted, to be honest, a little too formal, and maybe a little too superficial for me compared to this conference, which is much more substantive, I think, and also in a way a more diverse sampling of people, partly because you have that involvement of the university and you have the students. So it's really a very delightful forum. My session was about the future of the currency and the banking system in Russia. So these are not small topics and certainly a very high current relevance. What was interesting about it wasn't just a statement of positions that people had prior to coming. There was a lot of interesting interaction, and I thought that we actually arrived at some interesting consensus and also had some interesting particular policy implications that came out of the conference discussion that I thought was quite good. And obviously it's an ongoing discussion because the question is, will Russia be able to avoid a major crisis relating to the central role of its banking system and the access to foreign exchange? So, and what should the central bank's policy position and the fiscal policy position be to try to minimize the risks of the crisis? This was a discussion that obviously is not over, but I was very interested in the consensus that developed in that discussion, which to me was somewhat surprising in a positive way. Well, I think it's a common thing for educational institutions to run major conferences. It's a unique situation to have something of this scale and also something that's done every year. So I can't think of another university that does a conference on this scale anywhere in the world, really. And of course, this academy is the largest one, I guess, in Europe, and that scope of activities, the diversity of subject interests, I guess is helpful, but it's a unique event, clearly.